welcome back. This is season 2, episode 2 of the Art of Football 365, and tonight we're joined by two 815 legends. Game of football, wrestling, you know what it is. They're studs, and we're very excited to hear their story and be able to put this out and let other people know who they are. So we got Anthony Dedmond and his son Major Dedmond. So before we get into the questions, I just want to talk. I got a couple things I want to mention. Obviously, this will be on YouTube, so I want everybody to Gronk spike that subscribe button and also leave a comment. And if you have to, give us a like. That'd be greatly appreciated. And share it as much as you can. And we also have 2 shout outs for this week. My little brother Brant has actually mentioned to me that 2 of his little football friends and Xbox gaming friends actually have been listening to this podcast, so they wanted me to give them a shout out. So shout out Reed Pearson and Cooper Hathaway. I think it's quite important to have the younger crew of kids listening to this and helping them understand stories of people who have already established themselves and are doing the thing they love. So I think that's very important. So I wanted to add that in there. And I also wanted to mention the good news with the IHSA. We might be able to see some sports this year, so I think that's a very, very good thing, and we're heading in the right direction. So everybody stay safe out there, and let's stay in phase 4. So I just want to start this off right away, and how it's going to go is I'm going to ask 2 questions. I'll ask Anthony 1 and then Major 1, and then Gannon will ask the next 2. So we got about 10 questions, and let's get right into it. So start with Major. I just kind of want you to tell me a little bit about yourself and who you are as a person and kind of as a football player, and what is something you want our audience to know about you?
So first off, I want to say thank you guys for having me on this podcast. It means a lot for both me and my dad. Just a little bit about me. Like I said, my name is Major Dedmond. From Freeport High School. Graduated from Freeport High School in 2019. I played football. I did wrestling. I did baseball. I did track. Stayed busy throughout high school. I'm an outgoing kid. I'm a competitive kid. Who just loves to win and loves to see success, not just from me, but my teammates. Made a lot of great relationships throughout high school, ones that I'll cherish forever. And just with football, a lot of relationships made, a lot of memories gained. Same thing with wrestling, and just blessed to be in the position I am today.
For sure. And I love that response, especially for the younger crowd. Like, they're going to love to have someone that they more than likely look up to say words like that, and people who appreciate the games that they play. And I kind of want to throw in there, since you didn't include it, state champ in wrestling. Had to mention that.
Appreciate it.
Yeah, for sure. So, Anthony, I kind of want to ask you the same thing. Kind of just tell our audience a little bit about yourself, who you are as a person and as a football coach, and just something you want our audience to know about you.
My name is Anthony Dedmond. I coach football and wrestling here in Freeport. Just Freeport native. I love Freeport. I love the kids in Freeport. I'm a pretty transparent person. What you see is what you get. I have my days where I'm kind of tough, but I also have my days where a good movie come on, I'll break down crying. So I'm pretty consistent. You know, I coach with my heart, and I give you my all as long as you give yourself your all. And I've just been very blessed and fortunate to not only be a coach, but be a father, and just thankful for, what I have in life. So.
Yeah,
sure.
I mean, kind of going to the next question here, transition things. Major, it's kind of for you, what was kind of the ultimate decision why you chose football over wrestling? As we mentioned earlier, you won the state championship your senior year, and you had Division I looks and offers, and went on a Division I visit down to Appalachian State and had good looks there, but ultimately chose St. Francis, and now you're at Ferris State. Kind of why is that, and why is football more important for your career than wrestling?
Yeah, so as a kid, I knew I always wanted to do football, going into college stage, hopefully making the NFL one day. Those were always my dreams and my passion. Wrestling was more just a hobby for me that I ended up being good at, and that my dad, I guess, put me into. I always wanted to be a basketball star. So
I made him do it. I made him do it. He had no choice. You had to wrestle.
You had to retire that left-handed jump shot there.
Yeah, I guess.
He was whack at it. He had to wrestle.
Yeah, so I got put in wrestling, and it just became something that I ended up being good at. As high school went on, again, I just knew I just wanted to keep pursuing into football. So I was getting recruited for, like you said, both football and wrestling. But my heart was with football, and I ended up at St. Francis my first year of college, my freshman year. Coach Curry and his staff brought me in with open arms and allowed me to demonstrate my talents as a quarterback and allowed me to mature into a quarterback. And that's big. I'm very thankful for my quarterback's coach, Mr. McCarthy, for developing me into a quarterback, all-around quarterback, a throwing and running quarterback. And then I decided I want to take a different route after my first year of college at St. Francis. And um, big shouts out to my moms for recruiting, getting out and talking to different coaches for me and emailing all different coaches for me. And I ended up getting an email back from Coach Tony Anise, and he reminded me so much of my dad. And that's what really brought me in and really wanted me to come here and call Ferris my home. So I'm here now and I'm loving it. I'm working hard for that starting spot.
Yes, sir. That's what we like to hear. Anthony, what's it like being the football and wrestling coach of Freeport at the same time? There's a lot of different stuff that goes on with both of them, but I know they also go hand in hand with you and your job at Freeport as well. What is this something, about those two sports other than the X and O's and the structured practices that really impact your life and why you enjoy it so much?
Well, man, Gannon, I'm blessed. I treat both like family. We uh we definitely want to win and do great things, but we want to become better people, and that's what attracts me to it. Uh, being having Major come in, I know when he came in as a freshman, I kind of thought I wanted to give up wrestling, coaching wrestling, because I'm so hard on him, man. I don't give him an inch. I dog him out, but I didn't know how that was going to affect our relationship as father and son. Uh, but lucky enough, he told me to stay on. So I had some good characteristics, I guess. Going into football, that was another thing that kind of was in the back of my head. I thought about, but I knew he was going to college, and I didn't want to interfere with that aspect of it. But he also spoke about that again and said some good things. He's always been that motivator for me to kind of do some different things I probably wouldn't do. Yeah, football and wrestling is like twin brothers. I mean, you can't have one without the other. I mean,
Yeah.
to tell you, we've been fortunate here in Freeport for some of our best football players to be wrestlers, and they've done well in wrestling. Uh, you go back to Matt Shavers, uh, Major, Isaiah Batiste, Keandre Jackson. Before that, I mean, even back in the day of Will Palmer, Brock Kunder. I mean, people such as that, they did tremendous things by being wrestlers. Kendall Parker, they brought in what they learned, that discipline, that determination, that able to deal with any obstacles. They brought that to that football field and they excelled. So I try to get as many kids as I can into that wrestling room, and it worked out for us this year. Our first year being conference champs. Like I said, we had 5 people qualify for state. We brought home 3 medals from downstate, and in fact, I say our heavyweight wrestled 3 weeks and end up taking third in state. That doesn't happen very often. So
Yeah.
I am fortunate and blessed with the position I'm in.
Oh, just one more thing I want to highlight, because I know Anthony won't talk about it and want to take any credit for it, but he does. As soon as practice ends, that's when he's more of a coach and a father figure for the athletes and even the non-athletes at Freeport. I've seen it firsthand with all of his jobs, because he was at the middle school when I was at the middle school with the resource officer and that type of stuff. He does a lot with taking people home for rides, picking them up for practices. I know he hates when people talk about that, but he does a lot for people's lives outside of the practice and the games. And I think that's what's the coolest part about Anthony, in my opinion.
Hopefully one day they get successful, pay me back that gas money.
Oh, for sure. And like Gannon said, like I haven't been able to see it firsthand. I mean, going to a smaller school in Akron, I wasn't around guys like you much, but growing up with Major, playing some baseball when we were younger and stuff, like I've always known the Dedmond family to be those hardworking and caring people, whether it was in sports or outside of sports. So I wanted to throw that in there. And Major, I kind of want to ask you now, like, who are your biggest role models and influences growing up? Like, it could be your family, friends, college or NFL players. Just who are some people that you've always looked up to and strive to be like?
Yeah, well, my inspiration, my hero is obviously my dad, my best friend. I feel like throughout my whole life, we never missed a beat of just going places, traveling. I mean, we've been to all different states for wrestling. We've been to a whole bunch of camps for football, and he's just always been by my side through it all. It's definitely been some tough times, but there's always been a lot of good times between us. And I'm just appreciative of him and the things he does, not just for me, but this community, the people he surrounds himself with. That's what I take away from him a lot, is just knowing who are the right people to surround yourself with, and who you want to be around to be successful. Like I said, that's my best friend at the end of the day, and I love him.
For sure. And I mean, I think it's definitely important to have those influences in your life, and especially him being your dad. Like that's important to have that relationship. I think it speaks volumes on both of your characters to have that established relationship. And having a father-son relationship definitely takes you farther in life as a man. I would definitely say that. And now, Anthony, I kind of want to ask you, who has influenced you? And that could be in the coaching world, developing your coaching strategies and different tactics and stuff, scheming and stuff like that. But who has influenced you the most in being who you are today?
Major would not break me down. He's trying to break me down.
Oh,
Trying to get to my
Anthony's
soft
fighting back the
side.
tears right now. I
I'm
know
Trying to
glad,
get to
that.
my
man. He's
soft
fighting him
side.
back.
Ooh, he dirty. He tried to get me.
My fault, big man.
Close. Ooh, he was close.
My fault.
So for me, my grandmother raised me. So she took me in. I was from Chicago, wanted to make a change. Uh, she was kind of living her life. She welcomed me with open arms. Her and my great grandma brought me in. Gave me a different scenery that I wanted to be part of. And then I became older and kind of got a little reckless, and I had my kids, and I think my kids were a truly big inspiration for me. Of course, your kids affect you in different ways. Uh, and then this dude here came along, and for his first year of his life, he slept on my chest on the couch, and his mom she was so worried about Sid. So we slept together for a whole year. I kept him on my every night for 365 days. He slept on my chest, and we have been together since that time. He's always corrected me when he saw me maybe make a wrong decision. And it's crazy to think that your son, even at that age, can help mold you into a better man, better individual. But he's always been that positive for me. Kids needing things. He wake me up 11 o'clock. Dad, such and such needs something to eat. We got to go by the house. Dad, such and such needs some shoes. We got to go get those. Dad, can Gannon go here? Can we get him something to eat? Can he come to a game?
The Rascal Rush days.
Man, and so he keeps me level. He keeps me hungry. Even when I try to take the easy route, sometimes he doesn't let me take the easy route. He'll call me out. And like I said, our relationship, we get into it. We're very honest with each other. But at the end of the day, I got to thank him for being that positive that I need, and definitely being someone that I look up to. He said one time that I was his hero, but I told him he was mine before I was his, because he didn't even know he was mine, even when he was first born. So,
Yeah.
so probably my biggest hero is probably Major.
Yeah. I mean, it's the relationship there. I mean, obviously, we're going to keep speaking on it, and people are going to get it ingrained in their head after this podcast, but it speaks volumes to both of you, and it's not one-sided. I think that's the cool thing you pointed out right there. It's not always you pushing Major, but it was also Major pushing you, and still to this day. But
Exactly.
Major, this one's kind of for you, and kind of just give a little insight of how the recruiting process was. I know you've talked to a lot of coaches, sophomore, junior, senior year with wrestling and football. Kind of give the younger audience a little insight, what are some of the things with camps, that type of stuff, kind of what went into that, and what's some advice for the younger people as they're trying to get exposure?
Yeah, so the recruitment process has its up and downs. Mainly it's up still. Got a lot of coaches coming in, so don't take any coach for granted. Don't matter if it's NAIA, D3, D2, D1. Each coach is there for a reason, and that reason is because they want you to better their program. So what I would say is just don't take any recruitment for advantage. Go out to any camps as possible, as many as possible. That's one thing that I kind of regret. My senior year is not attending as many camps as I could have. Like I said, the recruitment process is a fun process. Just being able to hear them coaches speak highly of you, them recruiters speak highly of you, and how you can impact their institution, their college institution is just a fun sight to see and to hear. My recruit process was a little up and down, like I said, because I knew I wanted to do football, but I also wanted to focus on wrestling going into my senior year. So I had a lot of big D1 colleges contact me like towards the end of my junior year, but I was wanting to hold off because I wanted to focus on winning a state title for wrestling and just getting over that hump and just being able to have that accomplishment on my back. So with that, I just a lot of them D1 colleges stopped talking to me after I said I wanted to just focus on wrestling at that moment. And yeah, that's where I got to St. Francis, and that's where I got to the position I am today.
Yeah, I remember the senior year. There was a lot of stuff, especially as your senior year wrestling season was taking off and you were winning a lot and going into the postseason. I remember so many people during the school days would just ask, what was your thought process? And I know you held off for, I think, was it almost until about May with the commitment to St. Francis, but you weighed all your options. And I know with me, you just don't want to get too invested into one coach with the recruiting process. You want to weigh the options, but also not throw your whole heart into one thing and kind of take everything as an even approach. That's kind of with my a little bit of advice to the younger people. But
yeah, I want to throw something in. Hold up. I want to
yeah.
throw something in
Yeah,
about that. The recruiting process, I know Gannon's been recruited. I've been recruited as well as Major. And for the younger audience, I just want to say, use your tools to your advantage. Use social media. Twitter's a huge outlet to put out your huddle tapes. Tons of coaches are on Twitter. And whether you email them, go on Twitter, post your highlights, share it with them via just a private DM message, just take advantage of that. I mean, like Gannon said, don't put all your eggs into one basket. Every level of competition is definitely a college experience. Playing at a college level, it's going to be worth your time. And I just want to say for the younger audience, take advantage of what you can do and what you can be. I want to throw that in there.
No, that was a good point. Now, Anthony, kind of with some of your networking skills, I mean, with some social media and stuff, and football and wrestling coaches, obviously you're a very sociable person and stuff, talking to a lot of people. Kind of what do you find is your best tool or your best trait that how you can kind of get to know more people and kind of pick their brains? Kind of what's something that clicks for you in that aspect?
Well, like you just said, Twitter. Twitter is amazing. Who is not on Twitter? And you can post something and somebody else posts it and the coach will see it and it'll catch somebody else's attention. And I mean, it grows like wildfire. And the great thing about us is, well, the bad part, I guess, is my first year coming in, I was kind of more of a rookie as the recruiting process, reaching out to coaches, uh, getting those relationships. It happened more towards the second year where we had so many schools coming into our school, seeing these different kids coming from so many different places, which gave our kids a bunch of different opportunities. Not saying that they all took advantage of them, but it gave them a bunch of opportunities. I always say I would rather have a bunch of letters on the table than just one letter on the table. And I always felt bad for Major because as his father, you always try to separate the father and coach aspect of him. I've always tried to not put myself in a situation where people can say, well, he's favoring his son. So in doing that, I probably cheated him because I tried to step back a lot more when I should have been his biggest cheerleader, regardless of what people said, but I didn't want that to affect him where it could have been. Different people have their different thought processes. Even when I became the head coach for Freeport, a lot of people thought I would be one and done. I was only there to coach Major for 1 year and I was done. Where my thought process was, I'm here for the long haul. I still feel kind of young and I've been doing this for a long period of time and I have had success. But as I said, you start getting those coaches reaching out. I was lucky enough to play semi-pro football for 15 years. So a lot of coaches, I'm dealing with a lot of those guys who now are in coaching positions. I remember when I first got hired, I called Coach McAllister down to Chicago Phillips. They've won a couple of state championships and asked them what is the formula to them being successful. I called a buddy of mine, JC Julius Carter at Chicago Westinghouse, Coach Griffith Rockford East, former Freeport coach, Coach Watson out of Kentucky. Called them up to kind of see what made them successful. And out of all that, you kind of put that in the pot and you try to make your own little recipe, and it's getting better each year. So that's my biggest thing, just trying to stick with it and keep grinding and reaching out and making those connections.
Yeah, exactly. I think networking is one of the biggest tools that you can use, whether it's in coaching or in the business world. I mean, making connections is definitely something that can help you promote yourself and better yourself in a way. So I think that's quite important to mention. We've talked about networking quite a bit throughout our podcast so far because that's the reason Gannon and I are doing this. We want to network and we want to meet new people and kind of get their story and learn some more information. So We got two questions left that are about just pretty basic questions, and I kind of want to ask Major, like, what is a little fun fact that not many people know about you? Just a little. It could be something simple.
All right, a little fun fact about me: I love watching The Office. I watched the whole series in probably like give me like a 3 week span, and I'll probably watch the whole series of The Office. I love The Office. I love their little inside jokes they got going on. So that's a little bit about me, man. I love watching The Office.
No, for sure.
No TikTok love or what?
Man, that's a little side hustle, man. That's a little side work, man.
Yeah, I kind of want to ask Anthony the same thing. What is a fun fact that not many people know about you?
I'm a homebody. If I'm home, I'm good. I don't. I mean, it's crazy to say, but the only person I truly hang out with is probably Major. And now that he's gone, I'm at home all the time. Like he said, we watch TV. I watch Netflix, find a series. I can go through the whole series in a weekend. That's just what I do. If I'm not doing that, I'm coaching. I said 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. That's what I do. Those I always tell my grandma there's only two things I'm good at: watching TV and possibly coaching. So that's
Yeah.
probably my fun fact.
All right, so these last two these are going to be questions for both of you. So one of you guys can take turns to go first, and kind of get the other person's reaction right after that. This one's for Major right away. What was it like playing underneath your father for obviously your senior year of football, and then your 4 years of wrestling, and then even through the youth years? What's something about that is just like, wow, I love having my dad as a coach? Not obviously just the father-son relationship, but like the X and O's and all that. What makes it cool?
Yeah, no, that was being coached by my dad was probably one of the greatest times of my life. We would always just make a statement to each other that we was coach and player on the field or on the mat, and then when we got home, we were father and son, and that's something that we carried on through our whole life. So it was very fun. One thing I just loved about the way he coached is he never put me in a spotlight or never made the show just about me. He made it more of a team aspect, which was very fun to make the game more fun and make everyone involved, everyone feel like they're a part of a team. So no matter if we won as a team. No matter if we lost, we took an L as a team. So, just to be able to come together and just be coached by him was just a blessing all around. With wrestling, we were just hard on each other, and we knew each other's goals. And our goal was to get to that state championship match, and he was able to take me there, and I was able to win that with him, which was a very special moment. And then with football, one game shy of making the playoffs, kind of hurt, but just to know that we had made so much progress through the years with football was just amazing to see, and just amazing to see the process for him as a coach.
Yeah, because right before we asked Anthony this about just reversing the question, I just talking about that joy and stuff with him, talking about that. I mean, I remember I was have somebody FaceTime me when Major won the state championship. I was following the stats, and that video that went viral through all the news stations across the A15 area of you jumping into your father's arms. I mean, that almost got me emotional. I can't even lie, just because I know
together.
we were working out. Yeah, we were
there,
playing,
yeah.
we were hitting and stuff. Yeah, so I just knew the emotion there, and I couldn't even imagine the emotion of you two. I mean, crap, you about took your dad over when you jumped on top of him right there. But that was just a side note, because I knew that was all the hard work for the 12, 15 years that you guys were doing athletics together. But Anthony, what was it like coaching your son for the 1 year of football in high school and then wrestling?
I've had the pleasure of coaching Major majority of his life, and he never seems to fail me, or everything he does is just like sometimes I don't feel like it's real. Like he's not a real person. He's somebody who doesn't want to be in the spotlight. He's somebody who loves to share. He doesn't want all the praise. He doesn't want it to be all about him. He wants it to be spread the wealth. Everybody have fun. I said coming in his junior year, he was the Nick 10 MVP. I remember I got a phone call from a news reporter who told me that someone had called him and said that hiring me was the worst hire you can ever have, and that I wouldn't win a game. And I said, that's dumb, because I got the Nick 10 MVP and he won for at least one game. I know that. But we sat down and we decided what we wanted to do. We weren't going to focus just on him. We're going to open it up, and we're going to make him more of a quarterback. And he was game on, and watching him progress. And it was hard. He's right. When we on that field, I wanted it done right. So I'm in his face. and I got to correct myself a lot of times because Major could throw three to five touchdowns and one interception. And we're gonna talk about that interception. We're gonna talk about the touchdown, or he could win a match by 15 points. We're gonna talk about how he almost gave up 1 point. That's the stuff we do to make sure he's 100% into what he's doing. It's like I said, I'm blessed. I'm blessed to have my son with me all the time, to watch him go out there and be successful, to never ask why. He has never asked why ever. I could call anything, I could tell him anything. Okay.
Yep.
I put him up against some of the best people in the state of Illinois, in fact, in the nation. Okay. I've had him run plays and do a certain thing where you're not going to just run, it's about you. Okay. It's just always been okay. And you get a special player who's okay with being okay, you got yourself something special. So, like I said, it's a blessing. It is.
Yeah, for sure. And our last question we have for you is kind of related to that in a way, but I kind of wanted to ask. This is kind of for both of you, but like, what do you guys think actually makes a good relationship between a coach and a player, and how important do you think that is for the nature of a team as a whole? So I'll let Major go first with that one.
All right. So what I think a good player and a coach is just understanding each other's goals. What are your goals as a player? What are your expectations, and what are your goals as a coach? Just understanding each other's mindsets going into the season that you guys are preparing for. Letting your coach know, I want to be one of the best players, and I want to allow my team to be successful this year. And just having your coach just tell you constructive criticism is a big thing. Just being able to be coachable is a big thing as a player, and just that bond as a coach and player, understanding their players not just as players but as men, as women going into their sports. So just getting an understanding of what your coach wants and expects you out of a player, and having your coach understand you as a player.
For sure. Now we'll let Anthony answer that question now.
I think just being transparent, letting your athletes know that you are human, that you have good days and bad days, that you are sensitive, that you have a heart. You have to love your student athletes all year long. You just can't love them in season.
Mm-hmm.
And you have to love them past the moment and follow their journeys. I still have athletes that call me. We call once or twice a month. We'll go out for breakfast. And these guys been out of school 11, 12, 13 years. When they do wrong, you got to make sure you own them. When they do good, you got to hug them and tell them you love them. It has to be something where you're consistent, that they're getting more out of you than you're getting out of them. That's the biggest thing I think about. I don't want any kid to leave me and say that I got more out of them than they got out of me.
Mm-hmm.
I want to have options for individuals. And like I said, not everybody has to go to college. You go to trade school, you might want to go to workforce. But I at least want you to be prepared once you go. I have never turned my back on any individual that has needed me. And like I said, it's just, I'm not out there just for you to do for me. You have to do for yourself. And I think that creates a great relationship and what's kept me coaching for so long.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah, for sure. And I just kind of wanted to say we greatly appreciate you guys coming on here. 815 football definitely would not be the same without you guys. And we definitely look forward to following your guys' continued success, and wish you guys both the best this year in your seasons. Hopefully Illinois football can pull through and that works as planned. And Major, good luck in college, and I'll let Gannon wrap this one up.
Yeah, I really can't thank you guys enough. I know we've talked about this for a while, and we were kind of hem-hawing around about both you guys, and we're like, screw it, we're going to do this together. We haven't had two people on together at once, but you guys are both doing great stuff. Major, good luck at Ferris State this season. I know you guys got big hype with your season. It's coming up. It's a little delayed with not playing in the fall, but then Anthony, with wrestling and football, I just saw on Twitter today that there are solid dates in order right now. If stuff stays in order with all the phases back in Illinois, that there is going to be somewhat of a season. So best of luck with that. And you guys have impacted Freeport. I know you guys are going to keep doing it, and I'm blessed to know you guys. And then we'll catch you guys next week. And until then, catch up on some of our past videos and podcasts. Share our video like Pat Mahomes is sharing the ball to his weapons in the Super Bowl next week.
Yeah, that'll be an interesting matchup. But like Gannon said, we'll catch you guys next week, and we appreciate having you guys on.